Hi, guys. Let's get into a reading. Thank you for your likes, your comments, your subscribes, and to those of you who have booked a personal reading with me, please keep in mind that these are general messages, so do not take them personally. Take the messages that resonate and leave the rest behind. If you would like to book a personal reading with me, you can find that information in the description box below. Let's get into it. I do have a channel message for this reading. I received a message saying that you can have everything in life that you desire and still feel the cost of growth. So it's almost as if, like, even though you may be in a position where you feel as if you have peace or you are just like in a really balanced or stable state, for instance, that doesn't mean that there won't be phases or moments where you are still where you aren't still grieving um certain parts of yourself that you have to let go of, that you have had to grow into, right? Certain aspects of your life that maybe you have had to release, certain things about your life that you've had to there's just giving like a lot of shifting where you're in a place where you feel balanced, you feel stable, you feel secure. Maybe you feel as if like you have manifested or created the things that you really desire, but there's still this sense of like grief where it's not constant, but there are moments where you are again feeling that distance of growth. It's almost as if like I've created all of these things, but the one thing that I desire the most is the one thing that I'm missing, right? Let's get into it. What message do you have for the collective surrounding this message? Help me to articulate a clear and concise message in order for it to be received in the way that you want it to best be received. Help me to see what it is that I need to see to get the message across as clear as possible. And help me to deliver any messages that you deem worthy in order to serve your highest good, for the highest good of humanity with harm to none. What messages do you have for the collective at this time regarding this channel message? Security. Y'all, you can't make this shit up for real. You cannot make this shit up. Comfort. Creatress. Support. I'm not going to take these, but I will acknowledge them. Again, like you're in the process of creating such a balanced and stable life, right? Where you have many of the things that you desire, but it's almost like the one thing that you put the most effort into, the one thing that you desire the most, the one that feels most connected to who you are, to your identity, to your sense of self-purpose, is the one thing that you're missing, right? And so there's like a I don't want to say a disconnect, but again, there's that sense of grief in a sense where like I'm putting the most effort towards this. You know, everything else seems to come not so easily. It came with challenges, but it came very quickly. But the one thing that seems like most connected to your identity, to your purpose, perceptive, celebration. I'm going to have to cover this card. It seems like And see, this is what's giving me like that sense of grief. And it could be the way that you're just perceiving things. Because you have look, you have celebration here, but there's also, look, mournful and joyous. There's again, alignment underneath. There's something. This may be the one area that you are still chasing as opposed to aligning, right? Even in very minuscule ways. It feels very like it may not be noticeable in a sense, but if you're still grieving this one thing that you don't have, then you're chasing it in a sense because it doesn't feel obtainable, as opposed to you positioning yourself to receive it, right? So it almost feels as if like it doesn't have, even if it were to present itself in your life, it doesn't have a safe space to land because you aren't creating an opportunity. You aren't creating a sense of security. You aren't creating the space for it to exist. You're desiring it, you're giving to it, you're feeding it, right? But you're not aligning to it. So there's no sense of protection, there's no sense of safety, there's no sense of security for this to present itself in a way that you're trying to receive it, that will make you feel fulfilled, right? Clarify security. I'm not going to take these just because they flew out with a bunch of other cards. And if you're having trouble hearing me, it's because it's very late at night and I'm just trying to be, not as loud. Clarify security. So many still came out. I just wanted to. The Two of Swords, the Ace of Cups, the Five of Swords, the Chariot. Yeah. And the Two of Swords is giving like perspective where there's two truths, right? The truth is you're desiring it, you feel connected to it, right? You're feeding it, you're nurturing it, you're committed to it, you're disciplined in how you give to it, right? But the other truth is you're not necessarily creating a space for it to exist in your world, right? To exist in your life, right? To have space, right? For it to appear in a way that's sustainable and fulfilling to you, right? The Five of Swords is giving like self-sabotage, right? Where there, it's creating that sense of resistance. Clarify the Five of Swords. The Two of Pentacles. With the Nine of Pentacles, it's almost as if, again, and this may be connected to the last reading, so if you have not watched that, there may be a message in there for you. The title has something about, if you don't, I think the title of the video is if you don't if you don't give or provide respect to something, naturally it becomes a slave to your desires. I think that's the title of the video. So if you haven't seen it, there may be a message in there for you. But this is kind of giving the same thing. Like you're putting your effort in between two worlds, right? Or not necessarily putting your effort in between two worlds. You're receiving from one life source and then taking what you receive from that life source and giving it to something else, which is creating an imbalance, right? It's creating an insecurity in this, whatever this is that you are desiring, right? And so there has to be a sense of choice. There has to be a sense of knowing, a decision, right? Where you choose to feed your worldly desires or you feed your spiritual desires. But you can't serve two gods, right? There can only be one. You can't take from one and then and give to the other what you're receiving from one. That distorts reality. That creates chaos. That creates confusion, right? It brings towers, right? It creates conflict. So you have to have the wisdom to know that your choices are ultimately what lead you on the path to, uh, you know, your destiny, right? In a sense where, again, you can't serve two gods. You have to either be a victim to your addictions, your bad habits, your bad choices, or you can be disciplined enough to not let those things um, deter you from your purpose, right? Clarify comfort. Mm. Clarify. That's too many. Clarify comfort. The Two of Cups. Oops. What's this? The Ten of Pentacles. It's you, because what you desire, the Ten of Pentacles is your legacy, the legacy that you're trying to create. There's a mirror here. You have to, the King of Pentacles is someone who is very grounded, very stable, right? Very family oriented, very generous, right? But also in a sense of like generous in a sense of discipline, right? There's no disorder. Um, the King of Pentacles doesn't entertain disorder. It doesn't entertain chaos. It doesn't entertain conflict, right? The King of Pentacles is more so someone who has the ability to create multiple sources of currency, right? Again, it doesn't necessarily mean money, but currency in all forms, right? But there has to be a commitment to you, yourself, your purpose, what it is that you feel spiritually aligned to, what it is that you feel connected to, right? As it relates to the legacy that you're trying to create. What do you want your legacy to be when you leave this realm, right? How do you want to be perceived? What kind of legacy are you creating for yourself? Are you creating a legacy that's directly connected to the the subconscious you, right? Again, your bad habits, your addictions, the things that don't necessarily feed your purpose. But they do give you what you want, right? Not necessarily what you need, but it's what you want. So it's not sustainable. Or are you going to commit to the spiritual side of you, right? The conscious side of you, the one that's aware, the one that's disciplined, the one that's led by faith, right? The one that leads with light, right? The one that guides with a firm the empress underneath, like creating a life that is sustainable, that is rich, that is fulfilling, right? You have to create a source of comfortability within knowing who you are and what it is that you're trying to create in order to bring that to life, right? Or to align that to your life, right? Clarified perceptive. Yeah, there's also an issue here with knowing the difference again between being grounded and being stuck, right? Because there may be a perception that like being committed or being disciplined in a sense means that you're stuck. But there's a difference again between being grounded and being stuck. There is a reading on this page titled that. There may be a message in there for you. If you have not seen it, feel free to check it out. But being stuck means that there's no movement. When you're grounded, you are being grounded requires commitment, right? It requires discipline. It requires an active choice, right, to exist in a certain space so that it has, again, the protection, the safety, the security that it needs to grow to its fullest potential, right? And you, as the creator of that legacy, of that life, of that source of currency, right? It's your responsibility to create an environment where it has the ability to grow to its fullest potential, right? And please understand that protecting and providing is more than fighting in finances. That is not what those two words mean. Please understand that providing and protecting mean having or creating a space of safety and security mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, right? It's not just being protective, doesn't mean just being aggressive. Sometimes being protective means just providing a sense of safety and a sense of security, right? Where there's no judgment. There is discernment, but there is no judgment. It requires attention, but it doesn't require action, right? Let's pull 4 cards, close this message out. I may or may not post this one. 1 card for what we can learn as the major lesson surrounding this message. 1 card for what we can create surrounding this message. 1 card for what we can meditate on as the focus of this message. And 1 card for the new cycles and habits we can innovate to contribute to our growth and expansion surrounding this message. One card for what we can learn. Peaceful. Lacking, right? How to align, how to balance, right? How to not necessarily always feel the need to chase, right? Because to be still means that you're in a space of receiving, right? So that you are presenting or creating an opportunity for what it is that you desire to meet you where you are, right? You don't have to chase it. You allow things to meet you where you are. That's how you know that you are in alignment. If it's not meeting where you are, then you are not aligned. right? Which means that you may need to reposition yourself so that you are able to receive what it is that you're looking to desire, right? Not from a place of lack, right? When you manifest from a place of lack, you're not manifesting from a place of purity, right? You're manifesting from a place of greed. You have to be content in knowing that everything that you desire will present itself in the right moment, in the right time, right? That's what serendipity is. Whatever you need will show up in that moment, not a moment before, not a moment after, but in the moment where you are present, right? One card for what we can create surrounding this message. And you have to feel it, you have to learn to be at peace with that, right? That sometimes we want things, and just because you want something doesn't necessarily mean that you need it, right? But just because you feel like you don't have it, that doesn't mean that you need it either, right? That's just something that you I don't know. One card for what we can create. It's the sleep deprivation, guys. Devoted and fairy woman, creating the pathway of alignment for the opportunity to meet you where you are. One card for what we can meditate on, that's the focus. Too many. One card for what we can meditate on, that's the focus. Creative and abuse at the bottom of the deck. Okay. This is about meditating on what place are you manifesting from, right? Are you manifesting from a place of hurt? Are you manifesting from a place of pain? Are you manifesting from a place of trauma? Or are you manifesting from a place of awareness? Are you manifesting from a place of love, opportunity, right? Perspective, clarity, right? You have to be aware of what it is that you're creating, because even though something that you manifested may present itself in your reality, you have to be aware of where the place in which you manifested that very thing from, so that you will know how you are aligned to it and how it will affect you moving forward. Again, being aware of the environment that you create for the life that's trying to grow, to bloom to its fullest potential. One card for the new cycles and habits and innovate, receptive and reasoned. This is giving the perspective energy, right? There's a knowing, right? Where you have to have the wisdom to really manifest from a healthy place, right? So that you're not just expecting to receive from the very thing that you're trying to manifest, but you also have something to offer what it is that you're trying to create, right? But that is the message that I have for you guys. I hope that it resonated. I know that if you made it to the end of this video, you have found something in it that is worthy and valuable to you. Thank you for watching. Bye.